Hey everyone, time to recap the year. If you remember from the projects that I had talked about doing, I didn't get all of them done this year. Matter of fact, I got very few done this year. And that was primarily due to the job that I have that pays the bills, taking up a lion's share of the time to the point where I just needed to relax after the day and not have as much opportunity to do things as I used to. I changed my schedule around a little bit, uh, so I wasn't up as early in the morning, which is when I got some of the good work done on the porch and things like that last year, was by getting up early in the morning and working on it before the sun came up, or before the sun was hot in any event. And was not able to do that this year. So between that and the work schedule, didn't get as many things as I wanted to get done. I do, however, have the solar tracking unit all ready to go. I've got to unpackage it, but I've got that unit. I've got the panels for it. I got everything ready that I need to have. I've got the cabling that I need to put together. So I've got everything. I just have to find the time and get it set up, get the framing put up. Because again, I'm not putting this down on the ground. Now, if you've seen a lot of these units, they're on the ground. I'm not going to do that with this one. This is going to be raised a bit. I'm not quite sure how high. I would like to put it up at the 8 to 10 foot level, which means blocking in a good solid post underneath it that'll be able to handle the unit itself and frame it in such a way that it's got support on all four quadrants so that it does not move and is protected from any damage that could happen from the wind, which it will protect itself. But I got to make sure that whatever the base is that I make for it is solid enough that I don't have to worry about that. And I have some ideas for that by putting a series of 4x4s together and making that the center column, because I don't think I can get the size of the column that I want without putting multiple 4x4s together and putting 4x4s out on the outside edges so that I can put cross pieces in to lock in that center point so that it's got even more stability to it. Next year, I've got to get that 30-foot poles up with the get the antennas put up there. I've got my VHF UHF antenna, and I realized that where I'm trying to hit the repeater that's closest to me, and pretty much the only repeater in the area, anything below where it is right now can't quite hit the antenna. And so the repeater, for me, my antenna needs to be higher. It's about 16 to 20 feet high right now. And I'm guessing at it because I can't remember how far I believe the ceilings in the house were 10 feet up to the floor level, and the antenna is above the floor level, which would put it at about 20 feet for the base of the antenna. But then again, I don't remember when the house was built, if they went that route or not. Ceilings do seem to be more than 8 feet tall, though, so that's why I say 16 to 20 feet. In addition, I've got the the HF antenna that's attached to the same pole. It's not quite where I want it to be, so that's going to get moved over to the other post, and it will be raised higher on both ends. And I've got an AH4, which is an ICOM antenna tuner that'll directly connect to my ICOM radio, like the tuner that I have now. But this allows you to use a single wire antenna. I'll be putting up a 70-foot antenna for that horizontally, and we'll see what I get off of that one. Right now, the antenna tuner that I've got works well until I hit 20 meters. And then when I hit 20 meters, it does not seem to like the 20-meter band for some reason. But we'll just move that over to the other one. The other should be able to handle 80 and 40 and 20 without too much problems. It's a quarter wave 80 which will make it a half wave 40 and a full wave 20. So it should be good for those 3 bands. The whole bunch of switches and connectors and things that I've got to put together for it are on my shopping list. And hopefully the economy comes up with something better, gets regulated a little better, so that it's not quite so bad. Nations this year have done some horrific things, including this one, which I am embarrassed to say, in terms of helping people, helping the economy, just being decent. Grew up in a time that, while the government may not have always done as good a job as it could have, for the most part, the more public parts of it anyway, we're trying to do the right thing. And I don't see that happening this year at all. So I'm hoping things will flesh out a little bit better next year, which will let me get to these projects. So I'm a photographer, I'm a ham radio operator, and I work on a solar project in addition to working on computers every day to pay the bills. So that's what I do. It keeps me a little bit on the busy side. But next year, I'm hoping to get that solar array up. I'd really like to see what the extra panels will do. I believe I've got 4 panels to go up initially for that. I have a couple of other panels kicking around, so I could go for the full 6. So I could put 6 panels up on that right off the rip. 600 watt panels, so that'd be 600 watts of power. Added to the 6 that I've got up right now, would put me closer to 1.2 kilowatts. But I might just leave the other 2 panels as they are and just work with the new panels and go from there. In addition to that, I've got the old Renogy panel that's a bifacial panel. It'll get power from both sides. That one does not play well with my main unit. The amperage on it's a little high. It will work off one of my deltas, so I'll probably put in my secondary system again. And the way I had it running 2 years ago was the power would come into both units during the summer anyway, and that way I would get enough power to maintain the house and to cook with. And I could get enough power to cook with almost just from using it off the day. And the reason I say almost is because my cooking schedule when I first did this didn't quite mesh with the sun. This year it would work out much better because I changed my schedule. So my meal times were later. It would give it more power to a more opportunity to get more power in before I ate. And then I could have tea in the morning and still have enough power to go through everything and bake during the day. So that's what I'm hoping to do next year. What I did get done this year is I did get the HF antenna up. I am running multiple digital modes at this point and vetting that out, getting ready to go on the road in 2026 to help promote ARRL, but specifically ARES, get more emergency communicators online. I'm hoping that the digital modes will help with that because there's a lot more you can do over those digital modes in terms of putting information out. It's not so much the fact that you're not talking, but the digital modes allow you to send out a lot more information in a more compressed time frame. And when you're talking about emergency communications and sending out lists of people, supplies that are necessary, or making evaluations of a particular area, and making sure that the situational awareness is there for the people who need to make the decisions on what resources go where, being able to send it in digital mode makes it much quicker. And by us being able to step in and taking over the role of communicator in a lot of these situations means that it allows them to, the people who know what they're doing, do their job, and allows us to supplement that by going in and taking care of making sure that the information's passed around as it needs to be. So we got the solar power, we got the amateur radio stuff next year, and that'll take care of the construction as well, I hope, and we'll see how that goes. The photography bit is mostly volunteer at this point, and that'll be a good part of the year, taking photographs. I did over 8,000 photographs this year, and probably cross 10,000 next year. So we will see how 2026 shakes out. But for now, this is the end of 2025. I want to thank you all for listening to this podcast, and I will talk to you all on the other side.